Every time we get a new home buyer, the first question that comes out of their mouth is, where are the programs with down payment assistance? How do I qualify? Who do I need to speak to? Where do I start? In this video right here, that's exactly what we're going to be answering. I have invited a special guest that also is going to be clarifying some myths or things that you heard. Cousins, everybody has their own opinion on down payment assistance, also known as DPA. Now, full disclosure is that this is not the only down payment assistance. There are plenty of different down payment assistance, and today in particular, we're gonna be talking about TSAHC. Now, let's move forward. My name is Dany Lopez. I am a realtor with EXP. I service all of Houston and surrounding areas. And without further ado, I'm happy to invite Mr. Coy, that's going to be helping us get a more little understanding about down payment assistance when it comes to TSAHC. Mr. Coy, can you please introduce yourself?
Well, good day to everyone. I definitely appreciate the stage, Mr. Dany. I am Coy Woods. I am with Hometown Lenders. I am an loan officer and or loan professional that definitely would be more than happy to assist with financing and understanding what these styles of products consist of. Down payment assistance is something that is definitely additional information and or access to funds that a lot of individuals and or first-time home buyers are interested in. And we have to make sure that we understand you do not have to be a first-time home buyer to gain access to assistance with your out-of-pocket expenses. And that's what down payment assistance is. It is assisting you with your down payment and or out-of-pocket funds, though it's not going to take care of every penny of the transaction that's required of you as a buyer. And that's important to be able to understand. Though as we talk about TSAHC, which TSAHC is short for a Texas State Affordable Housing Corporation, and TSAHC has several products that are available that you can gain access to these funds. These particular products can be used with conventional financing. They can also be used with FHA finance, and they also can be used with VA financing and USDA financing. So do not limit yourself in understanding that these funds or resourceful for additional loan products to gain that access to the funds. A couple of bullet points we want to kind of talk about in regards to down payment assistance and or the TSAHC funds. The TSAHC funds are accessible with a couple of different arenas of the actual assistance. You can gain it through 2% assistance to go towards your out-of-pocket expenses. You can gain it 3%, 4%, and or 5%. So these particular resources are available, and the actual interest rates that come along with these the assistance in itself they are predetermined, and it is definitely accessible via their actual website, and they can change daily with the actual market in itself. A couple of things that you want to make sure that you know is you can gain assistance via TSAHC down to a 620 credit score. That is very important to be able to understand. There is no limitation just through the program in itself with debt to income ratio. That's important as well. So that means as long as you qualify for the actual loan amount with your current debt and your credit score, there's not a additional limitation that is required in regards to your debt to income ratio. There are just a couple of fees that are required and or added to a standard loan that is a part of the TSAHC, and those are labeled as well, and they are disclosed. Now, another thing that's going to be important to be able to understand is income limits. Each program or that is available with the TSAHC in itself has their own income limits, and a lot of it is dependent upon if the property is in a targeted area. It's also dependent upon how many individuals are in the household. So those are important things to be able to understand. And we definitely can, detail a lot of that information, with a one-on-one conversation.
That's awesome information. So something that you mentioned was that even though you could get down payment assistance and still apply or use the product of a VA and FHA,
Yes.
and that will even help you reduce the amount. Is that correct?
That's 100% correct. So, when we talk about just the basis of understanding what the loan consists of, the loan is going to consist of a minimum investment, which is considered your down payment. But in addition to the actual minimum investment basis, basically the down payment assistance, you do have closing costs and prepaids. So when you put all of those items together, there is 3 different sectors of the out-of-pocket expense. But when you use the down payment assistance with a product similar to VA does not require, as long as you have the eligibility for a VA financing with your certificate and you have the entitlement amount necessary for a 100% financing, there's not a down payment. So what that does is that gives you an opportunity to minimize a great way with VA financing using this style of program. In addition, some clients I've seen get funds back at the time of closing when they're using VA financing and the down payment assistance program in itself.
That is really amazing. Not everybody could say that they closed a property and got money back.
Yeah, it's definitely possible to be done. Definitely. The main thing you got to remember, the main thing, Mr. Dany, is definitely going to be what that out-of-pocket expense is. That's one of the most important things. What's their interest rate? And we touched on that. There are predetermined interest rates to the actual percentage of the down payment that you do request, and we just register those funds, and we just subtract that percentage away from the full out-of-pocket expense.
If somebody that's watching this video right now, what would be the first thing besides clicking on the link below and applying for the loan and getting in contact with you? Mm-hmm. What would you recommend them if somebody that is like, I want to start buying a house? Should they focus more on their credit? Should they focus on paying down their debt? Or is something else more important?
Well, one of the things I would say, if they're a first-time home buyer, I would suggest for them to use the resources that TSAHC has available for them to be able to understand home ownership, how you purchase. And that same certificate is a certificate that would be needed to confirm or gain that financing, because it's required. It's like the first time home buyer 8-hour course or like a certificate that they gain access to. And the reason I say that is because those particular videos and the courses are very informative. They definitely can break down and make sure that they understand some portions of purchasing a home that standardly may not even be discussed, and or questions and or conversations that us as professionals may not even know to share or think to share, because you have to remember, we're individuals that do this on a daily basis. And what we have to always do is try to find out, okay, what are some questions that we know that someone that may be emotionally uncertain of that particular process, and make sure that we're sharing that information the best way we can for them to have the confidence necessary to, apply and or gain that access for the financing in itself in general.
Okay, that's great. That's good information. So where can they find, is there a website or a place somebody could go?
Directly through the TSAHC website. The TSAHC has that available directly through the website. Take a home buyer education class. It's there on the site. So if they select a potential homeowner that's looking to confirm their availability, they can do 2 different things. They can take the eligibility quiz, which is an option via the TSAHC site. You can access that through the home buyer and renters portion of the subtitle on the site. And when you go there, you can use, like I shared before, you can take the eligibility quiz. In addition, there is a sector and a page where you can take a home buyer education class that you can take directly from the comfort of your home via online.
All right, Ms. Coy, I see a lot of videos, people posting online, just sharing information, but me personally, I just don't feel that I can never connect because they don't lay out like a scenario. And I want to build a scenario so we could help our audience understand where they stand and how this program can really benefit them. So let's just say we have a buyer. We have a buyer that filled out your application, which if you do, it's gonna be in the link below. So we have a buyer. They make about 48,000 a year. The monthly debt is like 1,100, and the credit score is 657. Right?
Okay.
I don't know if I'm missing something. Besides that, what will be the next step?
Okay. So sharing that style, that amount of information, that's very positive, and I definitely can confirm that a client having that, being able to share that information definitely has availability to qualify for financing, being that the first thing that we take a look at is going to be the credit score. We know that a 657 can gain access to financing, again, depending on the product and some other variables, but having a 657 credit score, we definitely know can qualify for financing. Now, when we go into different other phases of it, when we start talking about debt to income ratio and things of that nature, that's important to be able to understand, because if an individual makes about $48,000 a year, they basically make $4,000 a year. I'm sorry, a month. And when we are calculating debt to income ratio, the only thing that we're doing is we know that there's a rule of thumb, that it's not just a standalone, okay, drop dead number, but a number that we use off of air is about 50% debt to income ratio. And if a buyer makes $4,000 per month, we can basically say that they can qualify with approximately $2,000 per month in debt. Now, if we're already referring that the client has about $1,100 of current monthly debt and or obligations that they have to qualify with, we have to make sure that we remember that that particular client will only qualify for about $1,000 or so in a monthly mortgage payment, because you have to add the current debt obligations to the proposed mortgage payment to confirm what that debt is, to ensure that we're inside of that debt to income ratio limitation. But again, the important piece of it is if we're referring to about $1,000, and if they're if they have a minimum down payment, I would say that particular client would qualify for approximately $120,000 or so in an actual sales price for that particular scenario in itself. And that'll give you an idea of a nutshell. Everybody's situation is totally different. You don't want to take those particular numbers and say, okay, I'm running with these numbers because this is what the mortgage professional and the real estate professional stated that I will qualify with. So I would suggest, again, as Mr. Dany just mentioned before, to definitely get in contact with us, as we'll be able to, hold your hand and walk you through that particular process in a little bit more detailed format.
Yeah, I totally agree. We decided to do this just to give our audience some idea how this works.
Right.
But yeah, most definitely, everybody is a different scenario. It doesn't matter if it's exact the same house. There's a lot of elements in the process that change, your credit, the property taxes, your income. So don't feel that the scenario that you give is applicable to you because you probably make more money. That means that changes everything. Or your debt might be greater, or your credit might be higher, or vice versa. Everything changes. So very good information that we received today. Guys, if you have any questions, regarding this particular program, just you could comment below, and then we'll reach out to you. The link to apply to get going for Mr. Coy will be in the comment section as well. Mr. Coy, you have anything else to say before we wrap up?
No, I don't. Not at this time. Just let us know how we can help and how we can connect with you to assist you with the financing of your home.
My name is Dany Lopez. Remember to like and follow. If you have any loan down payment assistance that you might be interested in hearing about more, just let us know and I'll make sure to do another video about that. Till next time, have a blessed day.